and your hosts, Gene FitzMagic and Piano Rob.
It doesn't get any better than that. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Late Nite Magic. I am your host, Gene FitzMagic, and my Disney compañero, Piano Rob. What's up, my man?
Hey, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm excited for today. We have a comedian. You know, I love having comedians in the house, man. We have a comedian.
I don't want to pick
today.
favorites, but I like having comedians on the show too.
I love having comedians. Even when there's nothing to talk about, there's something to talk about because they got us laughing. So
yes,
there's always that. But what do you got going on? What's going on?
We're still, we're hanging out. We're doing all the park stuff. We're keeping up with our TikToks and Instagrams. We're playing shows at Disney Springs and some at Claremont. You guys know to DM me or check my schedule on Facebook.
Yeah. And today is August 1st. And so let me say this. This is the beginning of us adding this show to multiple nights now on the channel of the Disney Nerdy Network. So you're going to see me and Rob a few times a week. So get used to it pretty much.
Lucky everybody, right?
Lucky everybody. But you know what? Listen, the show's done well. And we have everybody out there, that all the viewers to thank, all the subscribers to thank. So we want to say, for me and Rob, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, and we said, hey, what if we did this show? We plussed it, as Walt would say, right? We plussed it. And we did a little something. We added more nights. We brought you more great content, more great guests. Not so much always in the Disney world, but in just cool entertainers, just cool people that we thought you guys like to see and like to hear from. So, we really, the fact that we're doing this more now, we thank you guys for it. And I'm looking forward to where we take this show in the future, man. We're going to be adding some stuff very soon with, I'll tease it a little bit because it's pretty much a set thing. Rosie from We Like Puppets, We Like Theme Parks Puppets is going to be something like that. But shout out to Rosie. He's going to be, we're going to have a special, someone's going to come on every once in a while and be a little a puppet part of our show. We'll be adding a castmate to our show. It's going to be a puppet.
Besides Gene, by the way, in case people were wondering.
Yeah, I'm puppet. When you read this the script, I'm puppet number 1. This will be puppet number 2. So there we go, man. Guys, we have a great guest today. Helen Keaney. You might also know her from HSN, not just as a stand-up comedian, but you might also know her from HSN. So she's in the house. We're going to bring her on in just a moment. But you know what, Rob, I love the TikToks, man. What are we gonna get? You always come up with the cool filters, man. You had the what was it? The Guardian of the Galaxy thing.
Star-Lord. I had the Star-Lord one.
Yeah, the Star-Lord one. What do you got coming up on TikTok? Anything cool that we're gonna be able to see this month? I know you're working on TikToks all the time.
I'm gonna people aren't gonna be happy with this. I usually don't plan them out that far because I don't know what's gonna be topical. It depends on what's trending and what we can use it to make it fit what I do on my page.
So the one thing we do know is we're gonna see it and laugh, right?
I hope so. Or you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh with me, or you're gonna laugh at me. But either way, you're gonna be laughing.
So guys, make sure you're always staying in tune with Piano Rob on his TikToks, on his.
I like that. Stay in tune. That sounds like a play on words for me. Stay in tune with Piano Rob.
Stay in tune. And guys, we're also going to be adding some reels too for the show. We'll start giving some sneak peeks and some clips from the Late Nite Magic show that we'll be putting out soon too. So make sure you keep checking on both of our reels for that. But you know what? Let's take a short commercial break. We come back. We're going to have our guest, Helen Keaney.
Cute. Oh, Winnie the Cute. Rawr, Jurassic Cute. You're not trash. You're cute. This is Sammy. Sammy loves Disney ears. She loves ears so much, she makes her own. Yeah, 3D ears. Want to see her do it? Let's check it out. Here she's making bows. Here she also makes ears. And sometimes she makes ears with bows. Any kind you want. People have been seeing her with her ears and they're saying, hey, can I get me some ears? Pow, yeah, you can. Here you go. Now Sammy's making ears for any occasions. Ears for dogs. Ears for spooky stuff. You name it. Ears for any occasion. And it's all happening at JSA Creations. JSA Creations. Just ask for Sammy.
Very Liberace of you. I like how you just ended that.
I've been mixing it.
You've been known to dabble a little bit. What do you call it? Noodle?
Noodle. I say noodle. You can call it whatever you want.
Okay, I'll go with Noodle. I'll keep this in the same ballpark. Guys, let's welcome our guest, very, very funny Helen Keaney.
Hello.
Hello, Helen. How you doing?
I'm good. Well, you guys have way more production values than I anticipated.
You know, we kind of hope that that's what people think. They're like, we're going to talk to these two idiots. And it's like, oh, they're two idiots that are putting some effort into this thing.
Yeah, like you actually are playing the piano. And I was like, wow, this guy, I really don't know anything about what's happening. I get so many like random messages on Instagram, and most of them want to see like close-up pictures of my feet or something like that.
Oh, no, not us.
I get those messages too, Helen. It's a gift and a curse.
So I was like, yeah, sure. That sounds like fun. Because I saw the word Disney, so I thought maybe I'd be safe.
Hopefully.
We do a little Disney on this show. But you know what? This is also like the crossover show of the network. So you don't have to be Disney to like it. You don't have to be Disney to be on it.
Well, I love Disney, and I have a couple Disney crossover things because I, at one point in my career, had a deal with the Disney Studios to do a sitcom, and then I also have season passes to Disney.
So do me and Rob.
They get our money. They get our money some way. We have to go.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah, I just went last week to Animal Kingdom.
Oh, excellent.
It was my first time there. I'd never been there before.
Oh, get out of here!
What did you think?
I thought it was incredible. I had just been in San Diego the weekend before, and I went to the San Diego Zoo, and the Animal Kingdom, I thought I got more close up of animals than I did at the San Diego Zoo. It was amazing.
Yes.
Now, go ahead.
No, I was going to go ahead, Gene. No, you go first.
I was going to say, did you get to do Flights of Passage in Pandora?
I did.
How amazing is that ride?
I thought I was going to die. I was terrified. It was so much more realistic than I thought. I thought, oh my gosh, I've been missing out on the virtual reality goggles, kind of thing. And it's like, I felt like the animal breathing, and it was like the creepiest, most awesome thing. I loved it.
Cool.
Yes.
So the very funny. We already know that. How did were you funny as a kid? We hope, right?
I'm glad we already know that.
This is facts.
Can I give you a list of comedy club owners?
Gene could be your first. Gene could be your first reference now.
I'm a reference. Gene says.
I need a reference.
But so here's my question is this: were you always funny? Like even as a kid, were you like the class clown at school, or was it something that developed later on?
I would say I was always disruptive.
I feel like that's what the class clowns always say. They were at least disruptive, if anything, if nothing else.
Yeah, I don't want to say I was hilarious. I was mostly disruptive, and I would be the kid who would talk, and the whole class would get homework. So I was.
That was you.
That was me. I never had the ability to pay attention or follow directions. So I would say more disruptive rather than hilarious. Like I wouldn't come in and put shock things in my hands or fart pillows under, that wasn't my thing. It was more like I didn't understand why I had to follow the rules of anyone. I think that's more like how I was.
So was it disruptive by jokes though? Or was it just basically blurting out randomness?
I think I kind of was like a heckler as a student, I think that's terrible now that I think. I never quite thought of that. But the teacher would say something, I'd be like, I don't know. That sounds like you didn't pay attention to class yourself. I wasn't.
That's good. That's funny.
It's terrible because that's awful. I don't want people to do that to me. I think I just felt like it was an open forum, and it wasn't. I've always felt like things are, open forums, but that's not the way life works.
No.
So now, being a female stand-up, it's a tough road. A lot, we've had a few on before, and Dave gave us that opinion where it's a little bit of a tougher road than for a guy, right?
I disagree completely.
Oh, really? Give us your perspective on it. Give us your perspective.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's been easier for me because
100%.
When I started in New York, I was like an open micer, just starting out at this club in New York called the Boston Comedy Club, managed by this guy named Barry Katz, who's very big in the business now. He executive produced like Last Comic Standing and managed, who did he manage at the time? Dave Chappelle and Louis C.K. and I think
Wow,
David Tell also. But anyway, I was like the only woman in a, like a 60-mile radius. And when something would come up, it would be like, we need a juggler, a white guy and a woman. It was like like I was filling and I got things quicker. I got an agent when I was barely had 2 jokes to rub together. I was barely emceeing. I got a job as a host on a show on Comedy Central when I really wasn't even good enough to feature. I think it was this other skill that I had, which was hosting, that kind of helped me along. But I remember getting my first stand-up TV show, and I think I did like 7 minutes on it. And I think it was my only 7 minutes.
Wow. So I stand corrected. You know what? Maybe it's hard for men nowadays.
No, but you know what? Because I
wouldn't want to be a guy out there that's like everybody else. I'm very different, and I think it really helps me working at clubs always. And I think also, funny is funny. Stand-up is different than being like an actor, because acting is so subjective. But if you walk in front of 300 people and they laugh for an hour, you're funny, and then you can work. So it's just a matter of like those TV breaks that you get along the way.
Yeah.
Funny people are funny people. It's so exactly. Helen, by nature down here, I'm a dueling piano player. That's usually my full-time work. And we have one female specifically in the business that is so head and shoulders above everybody else. She gets all the calls. Like if you asked her about getting work, she gets all the work because she's so much better than the other females in the thing. And so I could see that working the opposite way. Yeah, you're the only girl in town. You're getting the work. That's find something nobody else is doing, I guess sometimes is a good piece of line of work, advice there, and you get the call.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many women now that work, but when I started, there wasn't. And also, I go on the road as a headliner, and there isn't a ton of women that want to do that or that I don't want to say that can do that. I think that a lot of women maybe they want to just get 5 minutes together so that they get on TV and they get to be a sitcom and they're like more like actresses. But I'm like club tried true, like hardcore stand up.
You like the gig life.
Yeah. And I will say, like, as a straight woman on the road headlining, I might be in the itsy bitsy minority there.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So when did you start stand up? Was it like, obviously, so you started off as a disruptive, being the neck to teachers. When did that translate to you saying, hey, I want to try going on stage and see if I can do this in front of a crowd?
I moved to New York City from upstate New York, and I wanted to be an actress. And I was like waiting tables, being an actress, getting like, little extra stuff on soap operas. Like this was, forever ago in New York when there was soap operas in New York. But I interned at this place called the Manhattan Punchline, and I became an artist in residence because I wrote a play that they produced. And then I could take classes for free. So I took a class in how to be a stand-up comic. But the guy who taught it is a guy named Gabe Abelson, who was a writer on Letterman for like forever, like over a decade. And he has, works for Tom Green. And he actually just did a special on Discovery Plus about that guy, Expedition Unknown. He has like this mentalist act now. I'm just saying, like, he's somebody who was like this extraordinary person, but also an extraordinary teacher. And I started, doing some open mics around town. And my second time on stage, I was on a contest, and the MC was David Tell. And I won $25 because I won the contest. And then when David Tell stopped hosting the open mic night at the Boston Comedy Club, they gave me the show. Wow. And it wasn't that there wasn't a ton of comics that I would have loved to. I just think that I was like, there wasn't anybody else like vaguely like me. And the person who managed the club was a woman, and she just, I think, personally liked me and liked the fact that there was going to be another woman there hanging out with her instead of like this gaggle of guys constantly bugging her. I don't know. So
maybe right situation, right timing.
Timing matters.
And of course you had the talent.
Well, and plus I worked 7 days a week, every night, till 3 a.m, after the whole show is over, and then put somebody up at like 1:30, 2 a.m. at the comic strip or the cellar, or, I would every single night, 7 nights a week. It wasn't like, oh, I'll try this once a month. I was balls in from day one.
Yeah.
And you said it was Gabe Abelson? Was the guy?
Yes.
Tell me that doesn't sound like a name that George Costanza on Seinfeld would have made up in a lie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gabe Ibbelson. Like, right? Is that that's a George Costanza lying name?
Yes,
You know,
I mean, I'm still in touch with him to this day, and
It's a great name.
I'm working on a late night set that he's helping me with. I mean, he's like, I just have been. The other thing is, other comics are the thing that I would say have spirited my career along after all these years. It's never been a manager or an agent that's really gotten me like, oh, I'm going to get you in this. I feel like those people always want to steer me towards the big money dollar sign.
Okay.
And the comedians are the ones that like help me with what I really want to do, which is stand up. And sometimes, Yeah,
we've had other stand-up comedians on. They've said the same thing. The biggest help to everybody's career as a stand-up, as a comic, is other comics.
100%.
It's referrals. It's that, come with us on this gig. And so Tracy Carnazzo, who was on the show not that long ago, said the same exact thing.
I'm curious though. Some of these other comics, who's inspired you? Who's helped you?
Well, God, so many. Recently, Caroline Ray. I don't know if you know who she is.
Of course.
Yeah.
So she was already pretty established when I started, and she was somebody who was far above me. But to this day, like a couple of years ago, she was hosting a show on Game Show Network in LA, and they called me and said, Caroline wants you to be on the show. Flew to LA. That's just like a few years ago. Actually, it was right before the pandemic. And the guests on the show were me and Ryan Hamilton, who has a very successful Netflix special.
Yeah.
And I was like, quote unquote celebrity comedian guest. And I don't know. It was in her mind. I was a celebrity, but she's been interviewed for articles like who is the person to watch, and she's named me. Wow. I mean, it's things like things like that. I mean, I would say I just did a gig. I mentioned I recently was at this amazing club called Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester, which is, I mean, it was like, Kevin Nealon was there the week after me. Jamie Kennedy was there the week before me. It's like big headliners. There's a guy who worked there named Earl David Reed, who's a very, very funny comedian. He's a radio host. And he said, you got to have Helen, blah, blah, blah. So they had me. And then, I started a relationship with them. And that's fantastic. I had a great time. It's always someone who, if I was a club owner, I would probably listen to other comedians rather than, of course, as well, to be honest.
You can't put a price on networking. We say that a lot on the show because we obviously have more creative types on the show. So there's not traditional roads. I went to school, became a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. I went to school, became a doctor. I'm a doctor. It's this meeting people and creating this network to keep building yourself slowly to where you want to be.
Right. And, speaking of my friend Earl that I just mentioned, he said something to me that he heard from someone else that really kind of encapsulate what I feel like my career is, like you mentioned, doctor. There's like the most famous doctors in the world, like, even if it's like Dr. Phil or, Marie Curie, like famous, you just know those couple names. Yet I bet you your doctor lives in a nice house, drives a nice car, works full time as a doctor. Stand-up comedy is kind of like that. There's all these people that are making their living, doing well, but they're not Kevin Hart. They're not, the three people that you've heard of. So it's, and there's not a billion of us, but I'm sort of in that tier of making a living. Luckily, I feel very, very grateful.
Yeah. And if nothing else, Gene, I know you're going to go somewhere fun after this, but I like that people know that because like as a musician too, we say the same thing. You think of if you're a rock star on the stage, but there's many levels of working musicians if you are creative and you want to do it. So we like to get people on the show that, and hopefully you make it or I make it. Maybe even Gene makes it. I don't know. But it's nice. But it's nice to know that, you can make a living and be happy doing what you love still without getting to maybe this Tom Hanks level of fame.
Yeah.
I don't know why I picked him. I don't know why I picked Tom Hanks, but I did.
Was that as far as your mind could reach? Was Tom?
I don't know where. I don't know. I always try to pick somebody everybody's going to know. So on a Disney Channel, I guess everybody knows. Because if I pick a comedian that everybody doesn't know, then it doesn't work the same.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Mr. Reed because we've actually been in contact with him as well, Earl David Reed, about coming on the show. So I think we're trying to work on a date. So he's going to be on probably.
Oh, okay.
As well. So,
that would be nice.
very funny comedian. Yeah, he's a very funny comedian. Yes.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know how like hilarious I am just sitting here talking to you guys, sitting in my like little chair here. It's comedians aren't always like barrels of laugh if you're buddies with them. People always say it must be so fun having all these comedians. We're kind of like a depressed bunch. We're troubled. We're not stable people.
Many are introverted. And the only reason they can do it is because on the stage they're talking kind of at everybody. It's not a conversation. They don't have to talk to everybody, and it's funny. I love seeing introverts when they have their way of their whatever their stage is to tell everybody how they feel. It's nice to see.
I was going to say too is there ever time when you tell a joke and you just sit back like, man, I'm funny. Like, do you ever sit there and be like, I just killed these, or do you have one in the holster and you're like, oh, they don't wait till I let this one out and they get
absolutely. And I've actually said that on stage, like, I've said I ad lib a lot in my show. My show is probably 60% making it up off the top of my head when I get on stage, and I say things like, you realize I just made that up. I couldn't possibly have thought of that before. You see how smart I am? I mean, I say like I have like this running dialogue that I'll say out.
Yes.
I have zero filters, and then it just all,
So that brings me right to the next question too. I was going to ask you is how do you come up with your material? Do you have like a creative writing process? Like you said, you kind of ad lib it. Do you at least come up with the base beforehand and then go on and say, okay, I want to talk about this, and then just go off the cuff? Or do you kind of sometimes go up and have no idea what you're going to say?
Okay, so a couple things. I do this show called Group Therapy where I walk on stage and I make up the entire hour. You can watch a couple of them on my YouTube channel, which is Helen Keaney Comedy on YouTube. It's free. So I started doing that like as a monthly show. It's exhausting. I'll tell you that right now. It's hard to do and exhausting. But my regular show has tons of interaction. I love interaction, but what I do is I do a very personal kind of overview of who I am in stand-up comedy form, and people relate to different bits of it. Like for example, I've been married 3 times. That some people in the audience would be like, "Oh my God, I've been married 3 times," and everybody else is like, "Wow, you guys are weirdos." And then we, start talking about that. My husband's 12 years younger than me. So far, no one has ever been able to relate to that. Women never married people 12 years younger. All the guys are like, yeah, my wife's 12 years. So I'm just saying is I say these personal things about myself and then and jokes about them. And then people feel like they can come in because I go first. Let me tell you this thing. And then it's kind of, I feel like everything is a way to get people involved, because I feel like if somebody pays a cover and comes out to a comedy club, do they want to sit back and watch me recite my Netflix special, blah, 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 blah. I feel like they want to have a show about them, something that is a one time only at that moment. That's what I try to do.
Yeah, I think that's got to be hard for comedians, I always say in general, because you work so hard creating this show. And if you are big enough, you get to a special level. Once you do that special, everybody knows the jokes. It's not like a rock show where everybody wants to hear the same song again. They know the joke. You have to have new material now for the next tour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is 100% true. And I, when I do clips, I think one of the things is they say, oh, you got to do social media now. So what do I do clips of? I don't want to do like, here are all my best jokes on clips. So then you've already seen it, you come to the club. But most of my act is interactive. Luckily, that it never is repeated and every show is different. So I have started to clip up some crowd work stuff. But yes, you're right. That is a real thing.
Yeah. No, I feel lucky when I'm at the piano. I'll try to make my jokes. If a joke doesn't land, here's a song. Like I get.
Well, it's like I'll be honest. I feel like whenever I'll try to say jokes, a lot of them might not come out that good. My wife's always like, because I tell my wife, listen, you miss every shot you don't take, right? So if I don't just try it and see if I get a laugh, I'm willing to get a no laugh if I try. I'll send out 100 jokes and maybe 20 of them get a laugh. I don't know, but I get it as far as like not being able to. You at least have the piano, you can cover it up. it's different, I guess, when you're on stage and you got to worry about hecklers.
Oh my God. If I did 100 jokes, Gene, and only 20 of them got a laugh, that would be a very bad show.
It's 20%. That's not that bad, is it?
If I do an hour, I'll try one.
I'm just throwing out numbers, but
this is why our show isn't successful yet. This is
because I'm 20%.
Wow, you're bad.
Shaq's better from the free throw line than Gene is with the jokes.
Well, especially to my wife. My wife says I live in a sitcom, so but not a good one.
Not a good one.
Not a good one. She goes, you're not Larry David and you're not Kevin James. Stop. You're not. It's not King of Queens. All right. So before you get on stage, what's your process like? Do you have any like good luck superstitions or like, or you just gonna sit in the back, hang out with the other comics?
There's usually a green room, and I bring my own opening act with me because I feel super comfortable with him. He's a very, very funny guy named Jeff Klein, and we'll hang out, and he brings his boyfriend Jeff as he's known in the business, Gay Jeff, and we'll hang out. And my husband comes with me a lot. I don't have any sort of process, but I am also a host on HSN, which is a shopping channel. And during the pandemic, we switched over to, instead of having professional and hair and makeup people do our hair and makeup, we do our own. So I started kind of really doing deep dives into how to do that. And so I feel like that's kind of my process for getting on stage, is the putting on your makeup, doing your hair. It's like you're getting yourself, it's almost like I'm a drag queen. I'm putting on my costume.
Yes.
I'm getting ready to go out there and be the, Helen Keaney person as opposed to the other so I'm that slowly getting in drag.
But let me ask you though, is Jeff's laugh rate better than 20%? Because if it's not, I'm willing to show up to open.
You come down to a show, I guarantee I'll put you on and take a look.
I'll chicken out. Never mind.
I promise I will put you on.
It's funny with the HSN already, because I was gonna go there. How different is your persona on stage from your persona in HSN? Because it's a totally different. And first of all, let me say, HSN is responsible. I think my mother-in-law has an HSN problem. Some people have drugs, some people have drink. My mother-in-law has HSN. That's her addiction. There's not a time I go into her house and HSN or QVC is not on. It's on 24 hours a day.
We're like your best friend. We're constantly chatting and keeping company. I would say I'm very similar. As a matter of fact, I just did a special on HSN last week celebrating we're doing like this beauty special month, and I did a show where they actually, for the first time on air, talked about my stand-up career. I actually wrote some jokes for the show, and then they did a animation. I could actually send it to you if you wanted to put it on your page.
Yeah.
And I wrote some jokes, and they animated me in a cartoon doing these jokes, and they aired it during my special. I mean, the beauty show that I was doing. And it was the first time like those two worlds collided. It was matter of fact, the picture that you grabbed for the beginning of this episode is from that show.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Because I'm holding a microphone, which is actually a fragrance from Toni Braxton. And she put
the bottle looks like a microphone.
That looks like a microphone. And I thought it would be funny to hold it like I was talking to a microphone.
I didn't even realize. Let's pop that up real quick. Hold on. We gotta see.
I got Toni Braxton on the brain.
That's actually a perfume bottle, and I'm on set. Yeah.
You know who you look like? You know who you remind me of? Hey, you may have get this before, and I can't remember. I'm blanking out on her name. But if you put your hair up, you look like the mom from what's that show that takes place in the 80s?
I hope it's a good one.
It's really good. I don't know where you're going.
Gene,
Goldbergs.
This is how you tell jokes, Gene, and this is how you get.
No, this wasn't a joke. I'm saying she looks a little like the mom from the Goldbergs.
I haven't watched the Goldbergs. I haven't watched it yet.
Wendy Covey. What's her name?
McClendon.
McClendon. Yeah, she's hilarious. She's also on Reno 911. I'm a big fan of her.
I
take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Whenever Gene says, "You know who you look like," I'm always afraid what he's going to say. Depending on who you are, the person might hate you.
I'm going to go with. I take that as a huge compliment.
She's very pretty,
brilliantly talented, and if any comparison to her is, 100% welcome.
She's fantastic. Yeah, she's
fantastic.
Great in Bridesmaids. I can get coke from my hairdresser. I love it. All right, so HSN. So how long you been at HSN?
14 years.
So I got to imagine.
One time.
My mother-in-law does not watch much stand-up, but she's got to know exactly who you are. She's probably going to watch this interview like on repeat because she is addicted to HSN.
So I will tell you, this is kind of interesting. Those two audiences, my stand-up comedy audience and the HSN crowd, they are not the same people.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine, but that's so interesting to be in two totally different walks of life.
Totally different audiences. Like I had people all the time say, "Oh, I didn't know you do stand-up," and I talk about it on air too. I think they just don't like. I don't know. They don't know what I'm talking about.
If that's not what they're there for, like I even have people that know me from like my Disney community that have no idea about the piano, even though I play piano at Disney, and then they'll hear me do a song and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you do?" Yeah, I'm like, "This is what I do. The other stuff is just extra stuff. This is the thing I do."
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes,
they're two different. They don't. And I always think, God, it would be amazing if I could marry those two. Hey, let me ask you guys, have you ever seen that show Hacks starring Gene Smart?
No, I haven't.
It's on HBO Max. It's absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
She plays a famous stand-up comedian who actually is on QVC and sells stuff on QVC, kind of like Joan Rivers did.
Okay.
Joan Rivers, who's a comedy legend who sold stuff on QVC. It's kind of a takeoff on that character. And at the end of, I don't want to ruin the season finale if anyone's watching, so mute me.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs. She ends up, she produces her own special and is figuring out, negotiating with Netflix and who wants to buy her show, and then decides she's going to sell it directly to her people on QVC. And I'm like watching this show. It was like, I was like watching like.
What is it called? I'm going to write it down. I want to say.
Hacks.
HACKS.
I need a new show on Max, so this could work.
HACKS. Right. I can't spell. I had to write it out.
Check it out. How many seasons?
I want to say 2, and it's been picked up for a 3rd.
All right.
Awesome.
Very cool.
There's another person in it named Hannah Einbinder. I hope I'm getting her last name right. She's also in real life a comedian, and then she plays like a comedy writer who is kind of forced to be this, person's comedy punch-up person because her whole life has fall apart. But it's kind of about their relationship.
Very cool.
New thing to check out.
So do you ever do stand up and someone comes up to you after one of your gigs and is like HSN? Like, do you ever get that where they didn't even know and they see like HS? Like,
all the time.
Happens
all the time.
Are they wearing something they bought?
It's always a white suburban housewife, right?
Yes. Well, what'll happen is I'll be up on stage talking, and sometimes I'll hear somebody go, "Oh my God," and I'll be like, "Okay, that's the moment they figured out that's the same person."
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
Are they ever wearing anything they bought from the network? Because that would be amazing. Like, "Oh my God, I bought this shirt because you were telling me to."
I have had people tell me that they have jewelry that they've bought from me, and yes, that has happened.
That's funny.
But,
yeah, of course.
But I'm starting to get people to kind of see me because of like my Instagram, which I am the official Helen Keaney on Instagram. If you want to follow me, I've bring people in from HSN, and then I've added clips of my stand-up. I just recently started doing that. I am not the most tech savvy person in the world. So I think that whoever is the most tech savvy person in the world is going to win the game of stand-up comedy right about now.
I'll tell you what, and because of what you do with the comedy and the shopping, it's very interesting to do both. I feel like that's where the social media is your friend because Instagram, you can get, if you get the sponsorship deals when you get to certain follower numbers, or same thing on TikTok. I've been trying to build my brand a little this way, and it's like you never know who's going to call you up and throw you something to sell something. So I don't know if that's a way to transfer it for what you do, and then you're just selling all the products from your page instead of on a network.
I actually legally cannot do that.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Wow.
Of course. So it's probably almost impossible to combine those worlds
Well,
because of
I'm
that.
not trying to get people to buy stuff from me on Instagram. I'm trying to get them to open their minds to coming out to see me live at a show.
Yeah.
That's what I really want is them. I love my HSM followers to come see me do a show. And it does happen on occasion, but it's, people know me like on this completely separate career I know people that remember me when I hosted short attention span theater on Comedy Central. I used to host a show on Game Show Network. People remember me from. I've hosted shows on TBS called Movies for Guys Who Like Movies. I did that for a while. People know me from all these different things.
I remember that one. That was a good little series. That one, the Movies for Guys Who Like Movies. Yes,
it was a good gig. I've had many I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of good gigs. I have two careers right now. My HSN career, I could just do that and not do anything else. But stand up is like what I love. It's what I love to do. I'm actually going to be sort of in Orlando. I'm playing I shouldn't even talk. I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm headlining 2 nights at the Villages.
Oh yeah, I bet in Eustis. I've played Eustis.
I've never been to the Villages ever.
That's 55 and up.
Yes, I know.
So that's
I
so
don't know
that's
what's going to happen.
The great things about those shows, they're usually so happy that you come out.
Yeah.
I don't expect much tips because they're on a fixed budget at that age, but that's okay. But the show is also usually over fairly early because they like to get their party and go to bed. So it's a nice little in and out in the Villages. I like it.
Well, comedians don't get tipped, so that's not.
That's true. I see. For me, it's a big difference because our wages aren't always as good, and then we play. The songs are going to help us make a little more. So things I know about the Villages.
Do you ever play cruise ships? Because comedians and musicians like you do cruise ships, and that's another way. Like we were talking about, kind of blue collar show business. You make a very nice living. You're doing what you love. I've got many friends that work on cruise ships. I actually worked for Carnival for a couple years doing cruise ships. I really had some trouble with it because I didn't like doing adult stand-up with children in the audience. They make you do a children's show, and that wasn't my jam.
I remember. I personally don't do the ships as much anymore, just because I like to be home. It's nice. I can do enough here. I could, I have 2 kids and stuff, so I try not to go. Occasionally, if it works out to jump on a ship for like a week or something, I'll go do that.
So I figured you did that because you would be like, you're in Orlando, and that'd be like the perfect gig for you.
Yes, and luckily, it's an option. I like to look at it now that if I have to do that, they either offered me something fantastic or something else kind of fell through because I don't want to be away that long if I don't have to be.
Gene, I don't know if you've ever been on a performed on a cruise.
I've never been on a cruise.
Gene, you would love it.
You
just for the food.
Cruise?
No.
He what's funny though, being from New York, and I know you were from New York too. I never went on a cruise till I moved to Florida because I didn't want to fly and then jump on a boat.
Yep,
so he's gonna, as soon as he moves here officially.
Yeah, I've been down there for about a year. I'm back in New York.
You'll be on one.
I figure once the whole family's down in Florida, I would like to try one eventually, I guess. I know it seems like there's a lot of free food once you're on.
You'll love it. It's food 24 hours a day.
I'm good with that.
That's why you'll love it.
That's a bonus.
Yes.
I know a few people that work on some of the cruise lines for the Disney cruise lines, but they'll be away for like months at a time. And I'm like,
but the comics don't do that. We fly on and we do a couple shows and fly off.
Yeah.
We're literally
you guys have a better contract. Yes.
It's true. The musicians have to be there a long time.
The musicians don't, unless you are like, I would have to be above a level on that now, where it's people are coming to see Piano Rob or whatever reason that it's a fly.
I would come to see you, Rob.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's always a piano bar guy at every ship I've ever been on.
Everyone.
Well, I love too is you have some really good bits on your Instagram page. So the mods will definitely get that link in there. Your take on Paul Rudd, Sexiest Man Alive, I thought it was hysterical.
Thank you.
The one with the HR. You're talking about the woman that did HR.
That is not a bit. That was 100% an ad lib.
Well, I know that was crowd work. But
thank you.
that was hysterical.
That was genius that they were there. That was actually a lesbian couple, and they met at work, and she worked in HR. So I feel like sometimes they just lay out the bits for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like finding gold, right? Like all of a sudden, like, oh, this is a bit right here.
You're like, thank you for sending me these people today.
It's a whole
I've
new
actually
thing.
said that on stage. I stopped the show and I go, just a minute, I'll be right back. Dear Lord, thank you for making the crowd work so easy today with these people. Amen. Okay, what were you saying? Like, I've actually done that in the middle of the show.
Fantastic. So do you have any more thoughts of getting into acting more? Or is it right now you're kind of fulfilled with HSN and stand-up?
You know, it's such a different business from when I was in LA for a while, and I had, I've been on a couple sitcoms, and I did a lot of TV, and I've actually did a movie in Orlando. I shot a movie when I was The Tooth Fairy 2 with Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
and when I first moved there was tons of production, and then all the production left Florida. Like the rules changed, like the tax rules changed, and everybody's like in Atlanta now.
Yes. That's exactly what happened. And that's why the studios are shutting down here, like Universal and Disney changed, MGM pulled out, all that stuff. That's why they don't film as much.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that'll change again. But I have 100% Gene thought about that and thought maybe I'll go back into, it's just, I can only do so many things at once. Something would have to go, like HSN would have to go away. And I could do stand-up and acting, but I don't know if I could do HSN, stand-up, and acting. And I don't know how many things I don't have that much time.
Yeah.
To do
we talk about that all the time. Like we love doing this show, but if we want to add anything else kind of to our lives, you have to let another piece go at this point. You can't make more hours. It doesn't exist.
I cannot.
I hear you. All right, so we're going to play a game called Lightning Lane. Helen, this is what we're going to ask you. Me and Rob are going to go back and forth, 10 questions, and first thing that comes to the top of your head. So you're ready to play Lightning Lane.
$15 a person, so we don't have to wait long to get the answer?
Yeah, I hope so.
We're hoping. I mean,
isn't that what the Lightning Lane is when you go to Disney?
At Disney. It's funny. That's where we got the name from. But that thing, we shouldn't get into that thing now.
Yeah, that's a bad word. All right, let's go to Lightning Lane.
I'm ready.
Rob? Rob left us. No, he's back. Okay. Are you ready for Lightning Lane? All right. Question 1: favorite late night snack?
Caramel corn.
Okay. Nice. Last song you listened to?
Girl on Fire, Alicia Keys.
Nice.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Right here.
Really?
Right here, because my daughter just graduated from college and moved near me. Happy. I've never been happy in my life.
Congratulations to your daughter, by the way.
Thank you.
Gene's daughter, ironically, just graduated college this year too. So congratulations to both your daughters.
Congratulations to you, Gene. That's a big deal.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Favorite musician, band?
Oh wow, Bee Gees.
Very nice. Oh, I gotta ask now. Favorite Bee Gees song then?
Staying Alive.
Okay. Nights on Broadway for whatever reason I love.
I love that song too.
And you don't know what it's like. I could do Bee Gees all day.
I love nothing better though than the Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake take on the Bee Gees. That's another.
That's Gene. That's the Nights on Broadway song. Here we are.
I just can't be sad when I listen to the Bee Gees.
That's how I feel. I agree. Huey Lewis, though, is my guy. Slide above them for that. Huey Lewis comes on, I am in heaven. Whatever.
Huey Lewis in the news.
There you go. Favorite HSN product of all time?
Ooh, God.
I like that.
My mother-in-law probably has it.
Oh, gosh. That's so tough. Favorite HSN product of all time?
Or one that you sold, one that was fun.
When you were like, I need to get one of these for myself.
Oh my God, there's so many. You know what? There's this stick that when you open up like a bag of chips, you fold it over and it just slides on.
Yes, I've seen that one.
We don't sell it anymore, but I'm going to go on that one because I wish we still had it, because I got to my son and my brother. I was like, people come over to my house. I like run and show it to people to this day. And I think we sold it like years ago and we don't have it anymore. But that was like, I might be that.
That's great. What's your favorite food in general?
Cream spinach.
Cool.
Oh, wow. That's a weird one. But I'll tell you what. I thought as a kid I would never like it, and as a grown up, I had it at I can't go to a steakhouse and have a steak without cream spinach on the side.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Love it.
It's so funny you said that, Gene. I went to Shula's the other day and I was with a group of people. So, you got to agree on your sides because they're too big and nobody wanted cream spinach. So I ended up without cream spinach. I was so sad about it.
Yeah, Shula's has a good version of cream spinach too. There's cream spinach.
They do.
I would have ordered it just for myself.
Just for your
leftovers, I'd take it home.
What is one interest or hobby that you have that people would be surprised to find out?
I collect teacups.
Like mugs or like little dainty
No,
ones?
English bone china, like little flowered teacup. My parents lived in London for 20 years, and I would go to like thrift stores, and my parents are college professors, and my dad was in charge of like the semester abroad program. So I've spent a lot of time in London. And I started collecting them, and then I collect them in the US. And then like if I'd go to a different like I did the Montreal Just for Laughs Festival a couple times. And then I got like I remember one of my favorite teacups is from there. I'd go to thrift stores and get them for like $10, and they're so pretty.
Oh, very cool. How many do you have?
Well, I probably have like maybe 30. I've moved so many times. I have a case, and I have like maybe 30 now, but some have come and gone over the years.
Yeah. The little chips.
Mm-hmm.
What's a big item on your bucket list?
I think doing the Tonight Show.
That would be.
Who would be your special host? Is Jimmy Fallon, or do you want one of the old ones?
If
you could pick any host that are alive.
Oh, that's a cool question. I like that.
Well, then it would be David Letterman.
David Letterman. No, fair enough.
That would be easy.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
Jimmy Fallon, because I actually know Jimmy. I've worked with him, and I've full disclosure, I've never sent in a late night tape and said, "Here's my set." It's just something that I would say the short sets are harder for me than I could do an hour, easier than I could do 4 minutes because it's a whole different thing. So that's something that I'm actually working on now to send it in. But it's definitely on my bucket list.
Fallon is my favorite entertainer of like all time. Can I say I watched Jimmy Fallon just to kind of like we first not that obviously I don't do it like him or anything, but when we first started the show, I would watch hours of Fallon in a row just to kind of get the idea of asking questions and interviewing, because his technique to me is the best of all time.
I have a story about we did a week together at the Irvine Improv. I was the MC. He was the feature act. He wasn't even the headliner. And the headliner was this Canadian guy from a sketch comedy show called Kids in the Hall.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes.
Yes. And I went on. And then Jimmy went on, and he had a little stool, and he had a troll doll, and he put it on the stool, and he like sang to it, and then like had troll songs. He like destroyed, and the headliner came on, and people walked out. It was a whole week. It was show after show. I don't want to say which person it was it was a different I don't know who could have followed that. It was impossible to follow.
Jimmy Fallon to me is one of the most naturally funny, and he just seems. I never met the guy. He just seems like one of the nicest people.
He was very nice, extremely nice.
He seems it. That's nice to hear.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, so my turn. Weirdest thing a heckler has ever yelled at you on stage.
Weirdest thing? Oh God.
Or funniest thing.
Most memorable, whatever.
Most
whatever
memorable
it may be.
I remember years ago when I first started, I was in Long Island, and my agent, Omnipop, booked me at a college. And I was on stage, and someone in the audience yelled something about my shoes being like beat up. Like I didn't have new shoes.
Hofstra.
It was like, are you like something about my shoes not being, and I was like, what do you, and they were not new shoes. I did not have money for new shoes. They were older shoes. And the person came on stage, and we were like literally physically got into a wrestling match for the microphone. What? And then later my agent said, yeah, last week, I think it was Kevin James. I shouldn't say that because he's famous now, because we had the same agent and we had this group of people. He's like, yeah, there was like almost like a fight in the parking lot afterwards. That's like a terrible. I was like, why did you send me there? Why did you send me? You sent me there? Are you kidding?
Oh God, that's great.
That's great.
But yeah, it was like your shoes are tore up, and it was like, what? Like, I can't, like, that's what's bothering you about my show, is that my shoes aren't brand new. Anyway, because of that, I always, like, sometimes I even like wear one pair of shoes in, and then on stage I'll get like a pair of shoes that have never been out in the
Just
world.
for stage. So this guy has forever changed the way your outfits forever forward. You're always gonna. Oh,
I always have like sparkling new shoes. They're like, mwah.
Gene, you know what?
Weirdo in Long Island.
I don't think you know. I don't think you know the story, Gene. I think Helen will appreciate it. My girlfriend dabbles in stand-up comedy a little bit now and then too, and she does it. And she's a very petite white girl, blonde hair. And they needed a fill-in at the show in Polk County, Florida, and it was deep in like redneck Lakeland, like the smoking, bike riding women type of stuff. And she's in there like, so Forever 21, like that's her stuff. They didn't know that's where she is. And these people can't relate to this thing. And we still just laugh about it to this day. But that happens too. You have whatever your material is, and you get sent to whatever place that there might be a fight in the middle of the front row, and that's what it is.
Oh, absolutely. But at the time, I was a very new comedian, and I handled it horribly. Like, I handled all of it badly. Like,
no.
I mean, cut to now, I would know better than to even accept that gig. Knowing
Yeah,
what
of course.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, all right, let's get back to fun stuff. What is your favorite movie? If it's on TV, you leave it on a little bit longer, you come stumble across it, that type of movie.
Well, my favorite movie of all time is Rebecca. It's a Hitchcock film.
Yes.
I'm a huge Hitchcock fan, and that is my all-time favorite movie. I love the beginning of the movie when the girl is like, kind of like, she's there as like a paid companion because she doesn't have money, and she sits down at this restaurant and they bring her scrambled eggs, and she eats these scrambled eggs like they're like the richest thing in the world. And then the transition she goes to, like meeting the guy and marrying him, and then finding out about his ex-wife, and like the mystery of Rebecca. I actually named my daughter Rebecca after that.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
And the character Rebecca is this like horrible person who like is like the worst kind of person, but I just like love the movie so much.
Yeah, that's
kind of weird, right?
Hitchcock is fantastic. I love my two favorite Hitchcocks are obviously Psycho, right? But you ever see Rope?
Yes,
Rope
I've
really
seen
good,
every single one. I love all Hitchcock. I'm a huge Hitchcock fan.
I'm gonna date myself, but since we still have our Florida audience here, sometimes I miss the Alfred Hitchcock attraction at Universal Studios that was there for years. I don't know if you would have ever gotten to experience that.
I ever knew that there was one.
I don't know the last time you were there. It's because now Shrek is now down too, but it's where Shrek used to be. And they put you in one room where they let you watch the birds in 3D, not the whole thing, but you got 3D glasses, so the birds are flying at you.
Oh, I think I did do that.
And then they put you in, they get somebody from the audience to play Norman Bates as the mother, and they act out the whole scene, and the Bates Motel is there, and I miss that to this day. It was such a cool thing.
It was a good one.
I do remember that.
Yeah, that was back. That's
a
now.
long time ago.
Yes.
Like 90s maybe even.
I might have seen that one.
Your husband definitely wouldn't know what it is. It's that long ago.
He was being potty trained.
Yeah,
all right. So, best piece of advice you've ever received, and who gave it to you?
My mom. My mom said there's no such thing as a mistake.
Okay.
And she's right. Like, because every time I'm like, should I try this? Or is that going to be a mistake? She's like, there's no such thing. Try it. Oh, okay. I mean, everything I've ever done, well, no such thing as a mistake. Give it a shot.
Yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I love that. Meant to be, right?
You can't get where you're going without the bad parts too, and you don't know unless you do it. So you have to. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
But I don't think of them as bad parts. I just think of them as oh, that wasn't a mistake. That was just interesting. I don't really, because of her, I don't have a lot of fear about trying things.
That's a great thing to instill in you too. So for that alone, it takes that one big thing, especially in an industry where it's about, let's face it, it's about approval of others to an extent, right? Because you got to do your material and to not be scared to just let it out, right? That's a great piece of advice for someone in this position. All right, so what do we got coming up? What's next for Helen Keaney?
So I'll be on HSN and also I'll be on the road. Oh my gosh, when am I on the road? I'm going to be at the Comedy Catch in Chattanooga, Tennessee, August 12th and 13th. it's my first time at this club, and I'm very excited to go there. I'm headlining the Palladium in St. Pete, Florida. I'm looking forward to that, and that's going to be the 20th of August. And then I'm going to be at Snappers in Palm Harbor, Florida, the 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm going to be in Inverness. I don't know where that is. Also,
Is it Florida?
Yeah, Inverness is in Florida, I guess. And I'm doing headlining the Valerie Theater. I never
Oh,
been there.
nice.
It sounds like a sickness.
I did a wedding or something, and I don't remember what part of the state that's
I don't
in,
even know where it
and I
is.
get it.
These
Yeah,
are just
I know.
some dates coming up.
Yeah, well, and that's why we tell people you never know who's where. In Florida, especially, I mean, now you're a local Floridian. There's so many little places you can go to.
So many. Well, my favorite place is McCurdy's Comedy Theater, where I don't know if you saw my little cup. I'm always stealing these. I stole this from them, so I probably shouldn't show it on camera. But I love cups and mugs from comedy clubs, but I've been working there for forever. When I lived in LA, I would fly here to Tampa to work that club, but I'm there July 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. And I'm actually taping a special on the 15th for this thing called Open Bar. So it's like dry bar, except you can say whatever you want, called Open Bar.
Very cool. Very cool.
It's launching in the whole platform is launching in the fall. So I'm one of the first people to do the specials for it. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Helen, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it. Gave us some good laughs. I thank you so much.
I had a wonderful time, and
I knew you would.
Yeah, it was really fun. I don't know how to turn anything off, but
don't worry about it. We'll take care of that. But thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. When are you going to be in New York next?
I actually don't know, but I will definitely be going back to the Stress Factory, which is in New Brunswick, New Jersey. So
yeah. I'm still in New York. We'll have to keep in contact. I'll have to come check it out. Otherwise, I'll be back in Florida for good come like mid-August, September-ish.
Oh, okay.
So,
I
but
love that.
I'll come check you down there as well.
I just did one night there on the way to other things, and I love that club, and I'm 100% going to go back there. So look for me there.
Awesome. Cool. We'll look forward to it. Helen, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll wrap it up.
Cute. Oh, Winnie the Cute. Rawr, Jurassic Cute. You're not trash. You're cute. This is Sammy. Sammy loves Disney ears. She loves ears so much, she makes her own. Yeah, 3D ears. Want to see her do it? Let's check it out. Here she's making bows. Here she also makes ears. And sometimes she makes ears with bows. Any kind you want. People have been seeing her with her ears and they're saying, hey, can I get me some ears? Pow, yeah, you can. Here you go. Now Sammy's making ears for any occasions. Ears for dogs. Ears for spooky stuff. You name it. Ears for any occasion. And it's all happening at JSA Creations. JSA Creations. Just ask for Sammy.
Ooh, I guess I'm doing the show by myself. Gino's back here. Let's wrap it up, everybody. Well, listen, thank you guys for hanging out. Late Nite Magic. We had another wonderful guest here, and we hope to see you guys next week. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Gene. Even though I don't know where you are. Thank you, Patty Puddles. This is the most, Patty's probably backstage going, this is the best I've ever spoken with Gene. So listen, everybody, welcome. Good night from
Late Night Magic, everybody.